Hi everyone. Today we have Mr. Khairul from Micro joining us. Mr. Khairul Anwar is the Malaysian team leader of the International Linguistics Olympiad and an international jury of the Asia Pacific Linguistics Olympiad. He obtained his bachelor's degree in engineering and economics from Purdue University and continued with a MBA in Universiti Malaya. Apart from Olympiads, he is a very successful entrepreneur and holds directorial positions in Pandai, FlowyTeam, Aidan, Ardent, Borang, and more. Hi, Mr. Khairul. Thank you for
Hello.
joining us here in AMISO. Can you tell us more about the IOL and micro?
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me here, Hoza. Very happy to share more about IOL and micro as well, and even the Asia Pacific Linguistic Olympiad as well. So, Linguistic Olympiad or IOL is actually one of the 12 science Olympiad, the internationally recognized Olympiad. So IOL is one of them, and it has been around for quite some time since 2003. So I actually have a short slide that covers a little bit on IOL and some of the activities involving our Malaysian participants. Maybe it's good for the audience to know that Huazi is actually a participant of IOL representing Malaysia before. So it's good to see him again here in this session. So is it okay I go through this set of slides, Hasan?
Yes, sure.
Okay. But feel free to ask question or even to chip in because you yourself have been participants of Linguistic Olympiad and you did well as well. So you probably you know more about some of the things involving IOL than I do. Okay, like I said, it's IOL is one of the 12 science Olympiads. And as you can see here, the first one was obviously mathematics or IMO, the International Mathematics Olympiad. But then in 2003, Linguistic Olympiad came into the picture. The short form is actually IOL. Um, and it covers actually computational linguistics. And when we say computational linguistics, it involves computational thinking. Computational thinking is used many fields. And this particular one involving language and also the study of linguistics. So computational linguistics is the scientific study of language from a computational perspective. So basically, computational linguists are interested in providing computation models of various kinds of linguistic phenomena. So it studies languages and all the components of a language, and sometimes involves a little bit of the culture of the language, the people and the history, not only the syntax or the vocabulary, the words, the alphabet, or even the writing system, but also the history that comes with the language and the cultural aspects of the language as well. um, okay, so this is actually an example of a question involving linguistic olympiad. So as you can see here, it says 6 dates are given in Swahili. So Swahili is actually a language spoken in Africa. So along with their translation in random order. So these are the sentences in Swahili, and these are the sentences in English. So as you can see here, they are not really matched. So the assignment is to match each Swahili date, the ones on the left, with its proper translation on the right, the proper English translation in this case. So as you can see here, you can see the translation. Some components of the sentence is quite maybe obvious. You can see that there are months here: October, December, April. It's quite the same in Swahili as well. So maybe it's quite obvious. We have 3 Octobers here on the right, and then 3 October here. However, there are different words at the end. Like this one is October Jumapili, October Jumatatu, October Jumatanu. Whereas here on the right, the dates are same: October 5th, October 5th, or the 5th, but the days are different. So maybe these actually correspond to the name of the days, right? Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. And from there, that's how you actually map the month, and then you see you map the days. For example, you have these 2 Tuesdays here, and then you can map accordingly, and then the numbers as well. you can map here. So that's how you actually answer questions this type, yeah, where you have to match one language to another. Usually, what the language that you answer in will be in a language that you understand. For example, in this case, it's English. But even if you speak Bahasa, you speak Chinese, Mandarin, for example, or Chinese, or even Hindi or whatever language, then you can also actually take IOL problem, participate in IOL, because they will provide problems in those language, language that you're familiar in. So, for example, if your native language is Bahasa Malaysia, then they will given a question in Bahasa. So on the right hand side will be in Bahasa Malaysia, and on the left hand side will be in Swahili. So that's how you have to match them all together. So and sometimes not only matching, you also have to, based on what you understand here, you also have to do direct translation from English, like, so for example, from your language to Swahili. So this is not matching anymore. You have to create the sentences, the Swahili sentences yourself, for these two dates, right? So these are the type of question that comes out in IOL. So it's very, very interesting, and there's no one single way of answering this. It involves a lot of deduction, logical thinking, and of course you have to understand structure of language a little bit lah. For example, the wordings, the arrangement, the writing system, and all that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember the first micro, it was on dates.
Uh-huh.
Months of
The month,
Thailand.
was it?
Months in Thailand.
Yes, yes, month in time. Yeah, yeah, I remember the the yeah. It, I think the question asks what the words are about, right?
It was, uh,
Oh, no, no. To match the words to the months, wasn't it?
yes, yes,
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. And interestingly, in Thai, I think if I'm not mistaken, are the words actually correspond to the number of dates in that month,
yeah.
right? Whether it's still 1 day, 30 days, and even like in February, 28 days or 29 days, right?
Mm.
So very interesting. Do you get the problem right?
Yes, I got that problem.
Okay, good for you. So yeah, yeah, I remember that as well. It was the first micro we had, and one of the problem. It's a tricky question because you either get it or you don't, right? It's usually you don't get partial marks for that kind of question, because
Yeah,
once you
of
get
course.
it, you get it. All right, interesting. And so it's not only about translation of one language to another. It's involved many aspects of language. For example, writing system, phonetics, how the word sounds, morphology, the syntax of the word, the semantics, and also historical change and all the culture as well. Um, so some of the benefits for students, the participants of Linguistic Olympiad. One, solvers or the students required to apply formal style of thought familiar from hard sciences. So most people think that, oh, this language are actually not really hard science. It's more like arts. But actually, when we talk about Linguistic Olympiad, the questions can be solved using logic, using other techniques that actually come from the hard sciences. And then number two, students get inside the mind of the speakers of unfamiliar languages to discover new ways of thinking, new ways of categorizing the universe. For example, just now, Porter recalled the questions, the problem from the Thai, months. So you can, like I said just now, the months actually correspond to the number of days in that month. The name of the month actually correspond to the number of days. So it's very interesting how, for example, in some languages, for example, animals are categorized according to whether they are wild or whether they are tame, or whether they are, uh, used in farms or in the villages. And then, for example, if some languages, some objects are divided into gender. For example, there's female objects and male object, which is a bit different from what, for example, I'm personally used to when I use English or Malay, right? So, and this is how we can come to appreciate other languages. Sometimes it's quite surprising the way different people or different culture used to categorize words or even sentences or the grammar, the arrangement as well. Okay, and then number three, allow students to view language as a system built upon complex but logical and consistent principles. So there's a set of principles. So it's not just like a set of rules. Sometimes we get frustrated with grammar, especially in some complex languages. But it comes from a very consistent principles that maybe evolve over time. And number four, it bridges the techie versus fuzzy in academics, both sides of the spectrum. So these are some of the benefits for the students, and obviously the student also have fun answering the problem. So some student take it as like puzzles, right? So that it challenges the student to find ways to answer particularly complex problem. I don't. What do you think, Jose? Is it fun or is it is it stressful?
It's fun. Uh, yeah, the puzzles are fun, but
Mhm.
when in competition, it's a bit stressful, but still fun.
Yeah. Especially considering you're given, a long period of time, like several hours, just to answer a few questions, right?
Yeah,
And actually, maybe the fun comes from getting from being able to answer it, and you get frustrated if you cannot get it right.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this slide also cover a little bit on some of the journey that the people involved in Linguistic Olympiad from Malaysia, and to get involved in IOL in the first place. So basically, my partner Suhaimi, so Suhaimi Muhammad Suhaimi Ramli is a good friend of mine, also a partner in my company, is also partner in many of the educational program and initiatives that we've done over the years. So Suhaimi also went to the same school like I did. So we also did Math Olympiad when we were in school, and then we first heard of IOL in 2007. And then so I applied to get into the IOL mailing list in 2012, and IOL actually started in 2003, but we didn't participate in the first 15 years, almost 15 years. And then in 2017 only we went as observers to the IOL, and in 2017 it was done in Dublin, Ireland. So the two of us, so I mean I went to Dublin to observe. So that's the process for Malaysia to get into IOL. And then in 2018, also founded Asia Pacific Linguistics Olympiad. But I'll talk more about that later. So basically, like I said, we went to a IOL in Dublin 2017. This is the logo, very nice logo from Ireland. And this is it's a held at a university in Dublin. So this is actually the picture of two of us at the opening ceremony. So Saimi is the one on the left, so I'm the one on the right. So I took this a selfie at the opening ceremony involving the participants there. And on stage, these were the I think the jury members and the ones who created the problems, and also the jury members will help to grade the answers from the students as well. So and many of these are polyglot. They speak many languages, and many of them actually understand bahasa as well, or at least understand the structure of the language of bahasa. Um, okay, this is a picture of Suhaimi with Ivan. He is actually the creator of IOL. He is Ivan Desansky is actually the creator of the Linguistic Olympiad, and he's very very intelligent guy, very smart guy. He speaks many languages. I think maybe 15 languages, if I'm mistaken. I'm sorry if I get it wrong, but he actually speaks a lot of languages and fluently, and he understands even more than that. So he's a great man, and he creates many of the questions, problems in IOL as well. And this is a picture of me with Stanislav Gurovic on the right hand side. So this is Stanislav. He's actually from Russia but staying in Spain. And then he's also one of the chairperson of IOL together with Ivan. And on the left is Hugh Dobbs from Ireland. So he's one of the organizers in Irish Olympiad, Linguistic Olympiad. And this is a picture of me with Simona Clemenci. She is the one of the key person in IOL. So she handles all the PR, all the some of the secretarial work as well. So she's very important to the growth of IOL in many countries. So very important person for IOL. And I believe this is a picture of the award ceremony. So these were the countries I think who won the team award at the time. So
That year was on Bahasa Indonesia, right?
yes, was in Indonesia.
Oh,
You
geez.
are right for the team problem. Yes, and interesting enough, they purposely chose Bahasa Indonesia for the team problem because they knew that Malaysian would start entering IOL next year in 2018. So for IOL 2017, they chose Indonesian language specifically because we wanted to join the next year. So they know that's the last chance already. Because if they chose Indonesian after we join, then for Malaysia it will be very easy because we understand bahasa, and bahasa Malaysia is quite similar to bahasa Indonesia. But it's an interesting problem. I think I have it in the slides. Maybe I can show the problem later. It's quite interesting. So. And then, okay, this next, I'll share a little bit on our path to IOL, how we got started. So again, in 2017, we went to Dublin as observers. This is a picture of us, Swami and I, with Harold Summers. So this guy, he is also from Ireland. He used to stay in Malaysia, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 20 years ago, in the late 80s, if not mistaken, or early 90s. He used to stay in Malaysia, so he understands a little bit about the Malaysian language and all. So a very interesting guy, very welcoming. Um, and then after we got back, we got some idea what IOL is all about. We met a lot of people. We got a lot of help from them. We decided to launch at a conference that we did in 2017. This is an unrelated conference for teachers all over Malaysia. It was for math and computational thinking. So we took the chance to introduce Linguistic Olympiad to all the teachers and also some representative of the Ministry of Education who actually attended the event. So this event is organized by us. There were many speakers talking about many topics. So I chose one slot to speak specifically about the Linguistic Olympiad, and got a lot of people excited because this is something new. Nobody I think, from the audience have heard about Linguistic Olympiad before. So showed some examples to the teachers, and they got excited. They want to involve their students and all. And then, in order for us to participate, we needed training from experts. So one of the people we invited is Dr. Rachel Hendry. So she's from Australia, from Western University, and also from the Aussie Computational Linguistic Olympiad team, Aussie CLO. So she came over to Malaysia for almost 1 week. So she did a round of training to the team, and then we also invited her to eat some durian as well. She surprisingly liked. So she's very much into all this, language study and all the cultural aspect of the language as well. So she's into understanding the people and everything. So that's why she took the time to really, go out with us, meet people, to understand the culture as well. And then another trainer that we invited also is Stanislav Gervais. So yeah, he flew all the way from Spain. So he's also the chair of IOL. And while he was here, he gave a lot of training, gave some sample problem. We brought him to visit some schools. For example, this is picture of us at the sorry, this is the picture of us at the College Permata Insan at the time, which is in Nilai. So we had a program with them and asked the student to participate in some of the interesting problems. So they had fun doing this, and many of them actually ended up joining the Malaysian edition of the Linguistic Olympiad as well. And this is the picture of the first ever micro. And just now, Huazir mentioned about the Thai months problem, right? So actually that question actually came out in this edition of micro. So micro is the Malaysian version of the Linguistic Olympiad. So micro stands for Malaysian Competition Linguistic Olympiad. So we did this in 2018 to choose the best one to represent Malaysia in IOL. Um, and then we, based on the selection, we did the IOLCam at College Genius Insan, Negeri Sembilan. Used to be Permata, now it's called Genius already. So at the camp, we spent a few days, tackling different type problem, answering the question and discuss among the students, and then use the opportunity to prepare the selected students to represent Malaysia at IOL. Okay, and then this is the actual IOSL itself. So Huazi is here, but he looked very much different back then. This is you lah.
I was 14 years old.
You were 14, okay
15.
lah. You were 14 then. But yeah, it's a good experience. This is the first ever team that went to IL. So we had 8 students, basically 4 teams. So two teams, sorry, the 2 teams of 4. So um, team A and team B. So it was nice experience. What do you think about this IL? Was it?
Uh, it was very fun, and I got to know friends. And after coming back to Malaysia, I received this from one of the participants in Kazakhstan.
Oh,
She
okay,
introduced
okay.
herself. Yes.
Okay, okay. Um, there were 2 girls from Kazakhstan. One is Anna or something. The other I forgot the name. Uh, was it
Dana.
them? Oh, okay, okay.
She was Dana Ospanova.
Okay, okay. All right, right. I remember the 2 girls
And
from
I
Kazakhstan.
received
I think. Uh,
I received a postcard from India too.
Okay, okay, very nice. Indians are very good at Royal. They have been participating quite for quite some time, and they have hosted IOL before, and they have very good teams. What do you say? What's it? You're on mute.
No, I said, yeah, I didn't say anything. I
Oh
think.
yeah, okay. All right, all right. Um, okay. So yes, was participated in this together with 7 other students. So it was nice experience. Zisong actually got a medal. This is Zisong. Yo Zisong actually got a medal. So the first ever medal for Malaysians at the time. Okay, but I'll talk more about result later lah. And then 2019, we did IOLCam and also IFLO at the same time. IFLO stands for Asia Pacific Linguistics Olympiad. This is in 2019, again to select the participant for IOL. We did this in Universiti Malaya for a period of few days. And then we end up going to South Korea in Yongin. So for this one, whether you didn't make it, right?
Yeah.
You were selected for the camp, right? But for the final 8, you didn't get in, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we brought the students, the 8 students there. So together with me is actually Miss Rukaya, and then there are 8 other students here. 7 of them are here. The other one is Izzy Song. He's not in the picture, but he also went with us, and he did very very well as well, together with the team as well. This actually quite surprising, how well we did in IOL 2019. And then later in the year 2019, we did Miclo again, the Malaysian edition, in 5 centers in Malaysia, involving many students in order to select the next batch of participants from Malaysia for IL. But unfortunately, in 2020, IOL was cancelled altogether. Not only cancelled for Malaysia, it's the whole thing is cancelled. So, as you can see, this is the announcement made by IOL. Actually, at the bottom, there are the names of the co-chair and the secretary, Ivan Jasansky, Sanil Tagurovich, Harold Summers, on behalf of the whole IOL team. So because of COVID-19 pandemic, it had to be cancelled altogether. So it was supposed to be done in Latvia. Uh, so they decided to cancel it, and then they would postpone it to 2021 instead, still in Latvia. However, okay, not yet. In September 2020, we did the APLO in 2020, the Asia Pacific Linguistics Olympiad 2020. This time, not many participants, but we did APLO in 2021 also. And then in July 2021, for Latvia, even though the IOL was actually held, but eventually it was changed to a virtual contest. So participants actually can take the contest from their home country. The participants do not really need to travel, but just need to congregate somewhere in one place in order to do this online from their home country. But unfortunately, because of the restriction by EMCO at that time, uh, Malaysian could not participate in IOL 2020, even though it was done virtually, because the student still need to to come to one place and to do it in one place. And at the time, because it was still during the restriction, the pandemic and the restriction at the time, the Ministry of Education actually didn't allow us to do any kind of programs where students actually gather at one place. So we couldn't participate in 2021, even though we already have the students who actually we already prepared to take the IOL, but we couldn't participate sadly. Okay, that's it. Some of the features, some of the journey, and some of the activities that was done involving linguistic Olympiad for the Malaysian team. So next, in this slide, actually, I have some sample problems. I don't know whether I should go through them or what do you think, Fazil?
I think sure. Yes.
Okay,
We can
okay,
go through
can.
some simple problems.
Okay, if you have anything to add, also can share. I think I have only a few here. Okay. Um, okay. Like I said, in linguistic Olympiad or especially in IL, the problem actually can come um, from many angles, and it might involve writing system, the phonetic, morphology, the syntax, semantics, historical change as well. So this is an example of very simple question. This is not from IOL lah. This is just a simple question that says this is the multiplication table in Italian, so in Italian language. So it gives you 3 multiplied by 3 equals to 9. Uh, 5 multiplied by 5 25. 7 multiplied by 7 49. So I don't know whether I pronounced them right, but this is the multiplication table in Italian. So the question is, how many days were ships detained by authority Italian ports in the 14th century if they had arrived from plague-stricken region? So for this problem, they do not ask for any translation from here to English or from to any other language, but ask about this the detainment of ships for how many days. So here actually from here we through deduction we can actually get that this is probably 3 times 3 equals to 9, and then this is maybe 5 times 5 equals to 25, for example, or 6 times 6 times multiplied by 36, for example. It can be many possible translation, but here it's actually 7 times 7 equals to 49. Okay, so here we can actually see that this is actually 49, but if ships are detained, they are actually quarantined. So the word quarantine actually came from the Italian language. So quarantine is actually this word minus this word. So this is 49. So the answer is actually D, 40. So sometimes it's not really just translation, but sometimes it involves, understanding the context of the word as well, and how word can actually be can originate from other other culture, and how it's used, and why it was created in the first place. Maybe another question. This is actually a question about writing system, where it gives you the writing, the here, and then the translation and the meaning. This is how it's actually pronounced, and then this is the meaning, right, on the right. So here gives you some note here about the special vowel, okay. But here there are empty, spaces, the blanks here that the participant or the student have to fill in with. And in order to fill this up, students can have to understand how. this is translated into this, or how this is translated into this. So based on this, maybe you understand, okay, the vowel actually come from this, shape, or the some letters come from this shape, for example, and then you have to repeat that shape again here or here or here or here. So this is very interesting, and it's very difficult to grade as well, because it involves, the writing system of the students, the handwritten answer from the student, but it's very interesting. Okay, another question maybe. See, okay. There are a few problems that's very interesting for me personally. One is this question. This is the first ever problem in IOL, way back in 2003. The first ever problem is actually created by Ivan Drisansky. So I don't know whether his name is mentioned here. It's not, but this is the problem, the first ever problem in IOL. So this is actually interesting because it's actually a made-up language, by this guy, Jacob Lynch Bach. So this is actually a language, writing system created by this guy in 1916. So actually, writing system. It's not really, popular. It's not really, popularized and used by a lot of people since. But he created this language because he thought this would be, very, very simple to be used by many people. So he claimed that this kind of language system can be used by many people, no matter what the native language is. So he created this writing system. So for this problem, there's the sentence in English on the right, and then on the left, it's the same sentences, but in Linzbach's language, or writing system. So here maybe we can, see that how this actually correspond to this. For example, he says here father, brother are talking. So maybe we can guess that this is the father, this is the brother, this is symbol talking, for example. Or maybe the orphans are writing letter. You can see this is probably the letter, and then maybe this is a pen that correspond to writing. Because here when we see wrote or written, you can see the pen and over again. And then maybe if it's minus t, for example, maybe it's something in the past, because or it's something without time. For example, this one is working without haste. So maybe working but without haste. For example, it's minor t here. Maybe it's past tense, like here we wrote, right? And written, right? So it's in the past. So this is how you actually, try to match the word with the writing system on the left, and that's how you kind of understand this, and then use this to answer the actual question. So the actual question is actually, for assignment 1, you have to translate this again to English based on what you understand from the examples given. And then assignment 2 is to write this in that writing system, the transcendental algebra or that writing system. So this is very, very interesting because it's the first ever problem. And then next, another interesting problem is actually from
That
IOL
problem,
2017. Yeah,
that
yes.
pro-
Well,
uh, uh, that problem was my favorite IOL question too.
which this one?
I had the most fun solving. Yes, this one.
Okay.
I had the most
Why?
fun
Why? Why?
solving
Why?
this.
Why do you
Yes,
think it's fun for you?
because I participate in IMO too, so it looks
Ah,
math but not math, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
correct,
and
correct,
it's
correct. Okay, this writing system is very much based on mathematical equation. I can see the minus here, the equal symbol here, and all the brackets, right? So even here you have the bracket here and the larger than symbol, and yeah. So it's actually based on math. So that's why it's called transcendental algebra. For example, here you see the minus heart shape here. His father doesn't like to work. So this is work, but the father here, the father doesn't like. So minus the heart. So then he doesn't have the fondness, doesn't have the love for work. And for example, this is the father doesn't like the work. But here, this is the giant here, the giant. But here, minus love here, or minus heart here, is the wicked giant, meaning this giant is bad, the bad giant. not a good giant. This is a bad giant because this giant is without a heart. So you can see it's very, very mathematical in nature. Very interesting, and but quite easy also, right, Fazal?
Oh yes,
Mm.
it's the
Uh,
most fun problem,
yeah, quite
I
intuitive lah,
think.
I would say. Quite intuitive. Okay, maybe another problem. This is the one that was mentioned just now. Luckily, I have the problem in the slide. It's from IOL Dublin 2017 when we were the observers from Malaysia. And the funny thing is that when we were observers in IOL 2017, they involved us to be one of the invigilators during the team problem. So during the team problem, we had to monitor a team from another country who are answering, that problem, that Bahasa Indonesia problem. So the problem came out to be in Bahasa Indonesia, and it's very funny for us to be. It was done in university, so it was like a classroom. So in that class, just these four students. I can't remember from which country. Maybe it was from Romania. I can't remember which country we were invigilating on, but I think it was maybe Romania. So these four students were trying to understand and also solve an Indonesian problem. And the two of us, Amy and I, were there listening to them butchering the pronunciation of Indonesian words, and also the trying to read Indonesian as well. So this is very interesting, not only because it's in Indonesian, but it's interesting because the problem actually use emojis. So it's very, very interesting for me, and for whoever as well. So the question is to match the emojis to their description, and then to describe Indonesian and provide translation and write short grammar of English based on problem as well. So this is how the problem looked like. So they gave a long list of emojis. This is a partial list of emojis. Um, okay, and then the translation in Indonesian. So they have to match this translation to these emojis. So obviously there were a lot more emojis than this, and they have to match them one to one. So it's very, very interesting because as you can see here, uh, the emojis are in a way a type of language by itself, even though you use it, sometimes to only to complement the English words that we use during chat, or but technically emojis are actually a form of language in itself because they have meaning. They can be used in communication, right? And people understand them. So this is very, very interesting for me personally. Okay, you can see here. It's very similar to Bahasa Malaysia as well. Uh, Perahu cepat peta dunia segitiga hitam, lingkaran biru. There are a few different words, but basically for Malaysia, we can understand this quite easily. All right. Do you have anything to say on this, Fazil?
I think this is actually hard. Like,
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah.
mata, you have to know
Yes,
its
yes.
place.
Yes. This is very, very hard, especially for like something like a phrase like mata-mata. You are right, because it's not direct translation. It's not like I. Mata-mata in Indonesian is actually for detectives. It's translated to detectives or penyiasat here in bahasa lah. So or spy, almost like a spy lah. Uh, this is very difficult, but still, for this particular one is difficult. For the rest, I think it is still some of them is quite possible, especially if you have similar words being used for multiple emojis. For example, if you have lingkaran biru and lingkaran hitam, so definitely lingkaran would be something that, oh, the lingkaran biru, lingkaran hitam, and lingkaran merah. So the word lingkaran has to match with 3 of the emojis. But you don't know this one lah, for example. But maybe hitam is used again somewhere else, like segitiga hitam. So lingkaran hitam, segitiga hitam. So this hitam must be used in 2 of the emojis. So similarly, tanda panah and few others as well. Like if you go to the emojis, for example, if you have many set of faces, for example, if you have 12 faces, but one is maybe muka senyum, muka gembira, muka whatever, or muka, I don't know whether it's muka or wajah, whatever. But if you have the same number of words, that correspond to the same number of faces, then you know that word is actually representing those faces. So that's how you actually get it. But you are right, some of them are quite difficult, especially if it's very specific and it's unique in nature compared to the rest of the emojis and the rest of the words. Okay. All right, let's talk about Malaysia at IOL. So Malaysia have participated twice in IOL, once in Prague in 2018 in Czech Republic. So we sent 2 teams there. And then the second time was in 2019, the following year in Yongin, South Korea. So again, we sent 2 teams, meaning another 8 students. So these were the participants, Malaysia A, Malaysia B in Prague 2018. You also participated and you were in the B team together with the other 3, Zisong, Jahan, and Zeren. And then in 2019, we had again 2 teams, Malaysia A and Malaysian B. So in the first year, in 2018, Yo Zisong actually got the first ever medal for Malaysia. He got a silver medal at the time. So very surprising. He was the only one who got the medal. And as an individual and as a team, we didn't get anything. And the following year, Zisong again got a silver medal. He was eyeing, getting gold, but he got silver again. But Jiren actually got a bronze medal. So 2 of our students actually got medals in 2019. And more surprisingly, the Malaysian A team won the I think, was it the bronze medal? Yes, the bronze medal in as a team.
There were only
Yeah.
3 awards for team, right? Only one gold.
Um, if I'm not mistaken, yes. I'm not sure. I forgot already. Because sometimes there are exceptions. For example, maybe they have 2 or 1, but for Malaysia, for the team, it's very very limited number of winners. For example, there might be 1 gold, 1 silver, and maybe 1 bronze or 2 bronze sometimes. At most, like a few teams. Whereas for individual, is easier because it based on the marks. For example, the top a few percent of the participant will get gold, and then follow it by silver or bronze. So you probably end up by more than 50, around 50 participants getting all the medals from hundred participants. But for teams, very very limited. Only a few teams can win the team contest. So it's very very surprising for Malaysia to get a team medal, and all the other countries were surprised. Even we as Malaysians were surprised ourselves. But many countries actually came up to us to congratulate us, congratulate participant for winning. Considering Malaysia has only participated in IOL twice at a time. Many other countries have been in IOL for many many years, but have never gotten not only team medal but even individual medal. Many of the other countries, some of them actually, only got a few bronze, or some of them actually have never gotten any medals at all. So we are lucky in the sense that we got some, medalists. So this can become inspiration to the other, future representative of Malaysia, hopefully. Hmm. All right, I guess that's it from me. I think these are the slide that I have, but I'll be happy to answer more questions if you have any.
Yes. Do you have anything to say to students who are uh, interested in the IOL and wants to participate in micro?
Oh, okay. Yes, for Micro, definitely. I think it's good for students to participate. Micro, it's intended for students who have no background in Linguistic Olympiad, and anyone can join. Micro. It's very interesting. It's not as difficult as Linguistic Olympiad, and it can be participated by almost anyone. And maybe I'll explain a little bit on Micro. Maybe I share some slide on micro. I have some slide on micro. If I can share this. Let me see. Mm-hmm. Yep, this is just a short slide on Micro. So this is the website, micro.my. So you can go to Micro website to find out more information. So basically, it's an individual contest. There's no team contest, so anyone can join, even if you're the only one from your school who are interested. Even if you don't, participate formally as from a school formally or officially, you want to participate on your own with your, you can ask your parents to sign you up as an individual participant. Micro is actually held annually and is conducted online. Actually, it's now conducted offline already. Used to be conducted online, but now it's already offline. It consists of 5 puzzles, 20 points each. It's quite easy, to be honest, much easier from the actual linguistic Olympiad in the IOL. It's actually to cater anyone who have no experience in answering linguistic Olympiad problems. So it can be taken in either English or Bahasa. So if you're more familiar with Bahasa, you can answer it in Malay. If you're more comfortable in English, you can take it in English. And then um, okay, it's open to all students in Malaysia up to 18 years old, as long as you have not gotten into university. So even if you're as young as, Huazi at 40-year-old when he participated in the IOL at the time, or even younger than that, if you're primary school and you think you can, participate, you want to, then you can join. Usually, the participants come from the secondary school, like Form 1 to Form 5, Form 6. But if you think you want to try, you can just join because anyone can, and anyone can join up until they are 18 or before they get into university. If they're already 18 years old or they're already in a university, then they cannot join anymore. Okay, and you don't need any special, training for micro. You only need some, logical skill, analytical skill. If you like puzzle, you like to, to figure out things, or you like, some IQ problems, then you should try micro. Knowledge in language is not necessary. You don't have to understand many languages. Even if just speak one or two language is enough. Obviously, it's helpful if you understand more than one language, because sometimes by understand more than one language, you can appreciate other languages, other writing system, other grammatical rules, other word structure, sentence structure, and all those. But you don't need to be able to converse in those languages at all, actually. Uh, because in micro, only obscure language will be used. It'll be a language that the participant will probably never heard of, or never don't, they have no background in. So, for example, a language a problem might use a language that is spoken a few thousand years ago and only spoken by, say, a few hundred people then, or a language that is still spoken now, but only so a small group of people in the other side of the world is speaking. It's not to test your ability to speak in multiple languages, but it's more to test your understanding of the language system, to use your logical and analytical skills only. If anyone is interested in Micro, can just visit Micro. We're going to have the Malaysian edition again here in Malaysia sometime this year in 2022. So if anyone wants to join in 2022, you can just join. And similarly, in the future, just if you're watching this sometime in the future, you can also come to the website and get the latest info on Micro and also APLO as well, the Asia Pacific Linguistics Olympiad as well. All right. Hope that answers your question, was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's it for today. Do you have
Mhm.
anything more to add?
Um, I guess that's it. I just want to say that uh, this linguistic Olympiad is not only for people who wants to get into language or wants to study language or study linguistics. It's for anyone, even though you're into math or you're into other subjects, you just want to have fun doing it, you can and just explore yourself. Maybe you're good at this, and it's hard to tell without sitting for an actual problem like this. So sometimes the problem might come naturally for one person, but it's difficult for another. And you'll be surprised, like we've been in school before, that younger student, we see that this is very straightforward, because they see it from different perspective. Then they see problem, they see that why this is not really a problem, this is very straightforward, they can match the translation quickly. Whereas for older person, they might overthink stuff and try to match, try to dissect, and cannot answer the problem. So sometimes it comes naturally, but obviously you can train for this. But I would encourage everyone to try this. There are sample questions you can find on the website, on Micro website, and also on IOL website. There are also past year's problems on IOL website as well. So just visit the website and see for yourself. It'd be very, very interesting to try. And then if you think this is something for you, just join Micro in the future or Applo in the future.
Yes, I agree. And thank you for joining us today. For our viewers today, the links for the registration, resources, and the link to the Micro page too, they are all in the description. And
Mm.
you can join us at AMISO.my, AMISO.my. We have a Discord group as well with people from the IOL as well as other Olympiads. So you can have a chat with them. Uh, thank you, Mr. Khairul, again, and see you next time.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.